Smithsonian Institution. Can everyone hear me?
Sort of.
Any better? A little bit better? Okay. I said, my name is Jeff Bleemeister. I'm the museum site administrator. I'd like to take a few moments to first acknowledge and introduce the people who are going to be speaking today. To my left, we have Mr. Harold Kloster, Director of the Smithsonian Affiliations Program. Honorable Representative Keith J. Greiner from the Pennsylvania State House of Representatives. Honorable Senator Patrick M. Brown from the Pennsylvania State Senate, 16th District. We also have some other special guests with us. Mr. James Fawn, Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Historical Museum Commission. Mr. Bob DeSouza, State Director of the United States Senator Patrick Toomey's office. Mr. Sam Bresci, President and CEO of Lancaster County Community Foundation. I believe we also have some other representatives with us from the Pennsylvania Historical Museum Commission. Is Bill Lewis with us? How about Philip Zimmerman? Welcome, sir. And Brenda Regal, our Bureau Director, is here as well. Thank you, Brenda. Real quickly, announce a few other people, and then we'll get on with our program. We're also pleased to have from the Lancaster County Community Foundation, Kim Shorter and Wayne Groff. From the Center for Railway Tourism, Jim Porterfield. And from Discover Lancaster, Joe Cliff. Thank you. And we have some other important people from our Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania family here as well. If the people could just raise their hand, let us know that you're here. We have our board of directors from the Friends of the Railroad Museum, members of our Railroad Museum Advisory Council, museum staff and volunteers, museum donors and sponsors, community business partners, and our visitors and neighbors. We have a nice group, and I appreciate everyone's presence here today for this celebration. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Harold Kloster for introduction to the affiliations program. Please give me a hand in welcoming Harold.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Jeff, for your kind introduction, and thank you, everyone, for coming out for this event today. Especially, I'd like to acknowledge our elected representatives here, public servants, members of your friends group, foundations, the local community, and all of you. We're very, very grateful for your presence and support of this occasion. And personally, it is truly an honor to be here on behalf of the Smithsonian Institution to announce our partnership, what we call an affiliation, with the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. You know, museums reflect the spirit of their communities, and the pride and appreciation that the people of Pennsylvania hold for this museum is abundantly clear. And I've even felt that with each person I've talked to today, just wandering around this museum. This is a place that you hold great pride for. And I might add that the esteem in which this museum is held is widely held across the country. People know about this museum and people respect it very much. At the Smithsonian, we have known and admired the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania for many years, and we are so pleased that several of our treasured artifacts are on display here and are being so well taken care of. And you can't see it from here, but the Olamana locomotive, which is, I think, back behind these locomotives right here, is a real favorite of mine because I used to walk by it every day on my way to the office at the National Museum of American History, where it was at the Smithsonian Institution. It's a wonderful train with a wonderful history. Our connections with the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania run very deep. For a variety of reasons, the impulse to preserve the history of railroading emerged at the Smithsonian at roughly the same time that this museum was founded. The community of railroad curators and historians at that time was a very small tight-knit group. We even shared staff back and forth between the Smithsonian and the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. And everyone, as they still do today, everyone worked very closely together to preserve the heritage of the long steel rail. It's just that important. Now, what attracted us to this partnership that we're announcing today is the possibility to build upon the work of both of our organizations, to revitalize teaching, the appreciation of history, social studies, and civic education in our society. The Pennsylvania Museum, the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, stands very tall in this regard with its expansive collection of rolling stock, as you can see here, and related artifacts overseen by a staff of knowledgeable and passionate experts, all dedicated to providing the highest quality educational experience to everyone who walks into this great facility. So this designation means that both of our organizations commit themselves to a long-term relationship that will focus on sharing our resources and our best ideas to strengthen the work of both of our organizations, and especially to bring more of the Smithsonian into your neighborhood. We do this because we know that the residents of Pennsylvania, as taxpayers, have been generous supporters of the Smithsonian for many years. Your support has enabled the Smithsonian to become the largest museum, research, and educational complex in the world. 19 museums, research stations around the globe, and exceptional resources for students and teachers, some of the newest and most innovative online learning programs to be found anywhere. In our museums, as you know, we take care of America's greatest treasures. The desk on which Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, the original Star-Spangled Banner, the flag that inspired our national anthem, the Wright brothers plane, and the John Bull, the oldest operating steam locomotive in the world, of which you have a very wonderful recreation right here. And that's not to mention the other 137 million objects in our collection. But we know that it is not always possible or easy for many people to visit us in Washington, even as close as you are here. And that is why we commit to bringing the Smithsonian to you here in Strasburg, Pennsylvania. And we do this with great comfort and confidence, knowing that the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania embraces the highest standards of our field for scholarship, for care of collections, and for educational excellence. But beyond the display of objects and traveling exhibits, we believe that museums are places where young people can learn necessary and vital 21st century skills. And we are working with our affiliates across the country to increase these capabilities, to provide experiences that foster these skills, teamwork, real-world problem solving, and the creative use of new technologies. As we all know, history education is suffering tremendously in our country. Many students cannot tell you why we have a Bill of Rights, when the Civil War took place, or what the Industrial Revolution was all about. Organizations like the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania and the Smithsonian Institution have a great responsibility and opportunity to show us the world before it became encapsulated in a smartphone, to remind us how this world, how our country was built rail by rail or brick by brick instead of click by click, and to instill in everyone, as you do here, the ingenious and innovative spirit that gave rise to one of the most revolutionary inventions in human history, the railroad. A great educator once said that nobody flunks museums. Think about that. Nobody flunks when they come to a museum. You don't get a grade. And this is the beauty of what we do in museums. In working with our affiliate partners, we hold to this principle very dearly, especially as we seek new and imaginative ways to promote interest in science, art, and history, to spark the curiosity of our visitors, and to lead them down a path of lifelong learning. This is the ultimate goal of our partnership, and based on everything that I have experienced here at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, I am very confident of an enduring and productive relationship all the livelong day, as they say in the railroad business. So let me just end by saying how very grateful we are to all of you for your support of this affiliation, and how much we appreciate your coming out to be part of this announcement. We look forward to all the many wonderful ways in which we can combine our talents and resources to educate and inspire, and thereby fulfill the visions that drive both of our organizations. So thank you very much. And I have one more duty before I turn the podium back over, and that is to present this certificate of affiliation to all of you. I'll give it to Jeff, but it's really meant for everyone here. This is signed by the Secretary of the Smithsonian, David J. Sport, the 13th Secretary and recent former President of Cornell University, on behalf of our Board of Regents, which is the highest governing body of the Smithsonian, overseen by Chief Justice Roberts. And with their blessing and authority, it's my great honor to announce that the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania is our newest Smithsonian affiliate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harold. Much appreciated. I'd like to turn the podium over to Representative Greiner, please.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to thank everyone here for this important occasion, for the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, and for our Commonwealth. It is truly an honor and a privilege to represent the 43rd District. The 43rd District includes Strasburg Borough, Strasburg Township, and it's where we are today. And it also memorializes the importance of this whole area of railroading history here in the Commonwealth. The Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania was created by an act of the General Assembly in 1963 and opened to the public in April of 1975, and that's now over 40 years. Since then, with a vast array of artifacts, images, and historic locomotives, the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania has educated millions of visitors on the rich history that railroading has had here in the Commonwealth, as well as the importance of the contemporary railroading industry that continues today. Pennsylvania is nicknamed the Keystone State because it has held a key position in the economic, social, and political development of the United States. And there is absolutely no question that our railroad infrastructure played a central role in that development. When you consider the profound impact railroading has made on our Commonwealth's economy and our culture, it is no wonder why so many people are drawn to this museum. The General Assembly played a significant role in pushing Pennsylvania railroading's forefront in 1823, and then in 1846, the legislature passed charters to establish the Pennsylvania Railroad Company. This was to become a giant among the American railroads, representing the consolidation of more than 600 smaller railroads extending from Philadelphia to New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago, and St. Louis. The key railroad line passed through Strasburg, here where the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania stands today. The chartering of the Pennsylvania Railroad Company, although unforeseen at the time, would eventually change the course of history for our Commonwealth and our nation. During the Civil War, Pennsylvania's massive web of railroads gave the Union Army a major advantage over the Confederacy and contributed to the preservation of the Union. That is but one example of how Pennsylvania's railroads have shaped the course of events across our nation and across the world. The importance of that history is preserved here, and now, as an affiliate of the Smithsonian Museum, the experience will be magnified for all who want to come, visit, and learn. Strasburg, Pennsylvania ought to be known as Traintown, USA, for the truly unrivaled experience for railroad and train enthusiasts. With the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum, the Strasburg Railroad, and the National Toy Museum all here in really close proximity. Once again, I want to offer congratulations to the staff of the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum, all the volunteers, and others who have made this place special, and this is truly a momentous occasion. I want to thank you for all your hard work in making this truly one of the best museums in the entire Commonwealth. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you, Representative Griner, for your comments and your support of the museum. Very much appreciated. Now we'll hear from Senator Brown, please.
Good morning. I can only guess how many of you shared this with me, but over the last 2 weeks I was engrossed by the Cubs and the Indians. Of course, the Cubs had won the series, as we all know, since 1908, longest stretch in professional sports, and because of that, Fox Sports, during the broadcasting, was doing some special interest to put that in perspective. In 1908, Al Capone was 9 years old. Thomas Edison was 59. Mark Twain was 72. And a loaf of bread was 2 cents. But as railroad enthusiasts, we tend to put things in railroad perspective. So I was thinking in 1908, Penn Station in New York City wasn't even open. The Cubs were traveling from Chicago to play the Yankees in the Bronx. They were probably, regrettably, taking the New York Central to get there. We all know that building a bridge over the Hudson River in Albany was an easy thing, even an accountant would do that. If they were coming from Washington and taking the Pennsylvania Railroad, like Charles Cassatt was doing, they were stopping in Weehawken, taking a ferry across the river into Manhattan because there was no railroad tunnels at that time. The sandhogs were still working, and sometimes dying, to build those tunnels. The most impressive achievement, one of the most impressive achievements in human history, a building for the ages, was born, lived, and died more than 40 years before the Cubs won the World Series. That's a long time. But why this World Series was so compelling, some may ask, why so many non-baseball fans were interested in it. 40 million viewers, 80% of the tickets sold at the last game to non-residents of Ohio, was because of its bridge to the past. Its connection to people whose achievements, no matter how long ago, helped build who we are and what we are today. In short, it was a celebration of us. And given some of the chaos of the national debate right now, why the hell not? We have a lot to celebrate in this country. Well, ladies and gentlemen, within the walls of this best of its kind facility in this nation, the many who come here to experience it experience the same thing. Our past achievements in no other area but railroading define us better. Who we are, what communities we live in, and the quality of life that we enjoy. Achievements in railroading took human innovation to new heights, collapsed time and space, connecting people and communities across distances never before possible, released the shackles of human nature upon the advancement of the human condition, provided a permanent venue for integration of America's collage of culture and capacity, and advanced the standard and well-being of millions, more than any other industry before or since. In short, the railroads were the epicenter of American human and technological achievement, and upon reflection, an inspiration of what America and American spirit can always achieve. With more railroad companies, more rail miles per square mile, more tonnage, more passengers, Pennsylvania railroading, of course, as the slogan goes, is the standard for the world and the country. No other place than in Pennsylvania is the journey of railroading in the American conscience more compelling. With the Keystone State at the pinnacle of railroad legacy and lore, no Pennsylvania, none of my constituents, none of the constituents of the 253 in the General Assembly can truly understand the state they live in and its place in the world without having a knowledge and appreciation of the story told within these walls. A Smithsonian Institution partnership, of course, as it does for a multitude of outstanding historical assets across this land, provides endless possibilities to improve the value and the offerings of this facility to the maximum benefit of all our citizens. But at its core, it's much more than that. Most important, most fundamental is what the partnership communicates, what it elevates in the hearts and minds of Pennsylvanians and all Americans about the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum and its compelling core mission. A venue for personal reflection through the stories of people and the property of railroad, of our collective journey, a path forged on steel rails to what we have become, and as Americans, what we are always capable of being. Railroad enthusiast and author Agatha Christie once said, "Trains are wonderful. To travel by train is to see people, to see nature, and in fact, to see life." On behalf of the Pennsylvania Senate, to the Smithsonian Institution, to Jim Vaughn and all the people of the Pennsylvania Historical Museum Commission, thank you and congratulations for allowing our citizens to see and appreciate the value of railroading in their lives and the lives of our state and our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senator Brown. History lesson as well, putting everything in perspective for us. All three of these gentlemen are a very hard act to follow. I just wish to close by saying that I have personal experience with the Smithsonian Affiliation Program from a former job that I held. That museum is still an affiliate more than 10 years later, so I'm confident that we are going to have a long, lasting, and very profitable relationship with the Smithsonian. I look forward to tomorrow when the sticker goes on the door tonight, tomorrow when the first person comes in and realizes that we're a Smithsonian affiliate. So thank you very much, Harold, for giving us that opportunity. For those of you who, there's a lot of regular people here who have been part of this museum for a long time, but I see some new faces as well. There are many, many important projects going on right now at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. But this is also the kickoff for a wonderful weekend. Following this announcement, tomorrow is one of our signature events, Trains and Troops, which fills this whole hall with demonstrators and people and children and lots of life and energy. So I encourage you to come back for that. The evening is followed with a swing dance. And to break things up in the middle of the day, we're having a little celebration to dedicate Pennsylvania Railroad locomotive number 460, which is in the hall right now, and it will be dedicated tomorrow. It's fresh off a 5-year restoration, and it's beautiful. So please take the time to check out the locomotive while you're here, or please come back tomorrow if you can, and stay after the ceremony, have some refreshments, speak with the staff, make some new friends. Please come back again. Thank you for your support of the museum.